Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. So we're in our Mi-8 and we're going to look at radios today. What we want to do is use 3 radio bands commonly used with military aircraft. We're going to use VHF AM, VHF FM and UHF. So if we look at those frequency bands first of all, VHF AM spans 118 to 143 megahertz. UHF spans 225 to 399 megahertz, and VHF FM services 30 to 87 megahertz, I believe. Now, those numbers are slightly open to discrepancy. I know the high end can actually use a slightly different frequency on FM, but generally those are the rules I work by. VHF AM and UHF are used for communications in the high end. And this seems to be the same for most planes, or at least most helicopters. VHF FM is used typically for navigation. So the first thing I need to show is setting up the mission, because we're going to be using presets, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is click on our runway of interest, Guadada. And we've got several different frequencies. We've got VHF FM there, VHF AM there, UHF there, and the bottom one, I don't actually know what that is. So we're going to write these down. So we're going to have one, and this is the tower. We're going to talk to the tower just to make an easy tutorial. And UHF is 259, so I've written those down. Next, we're going to go and set the channels up. We're going to click on our helicopter here. We're going to set the presets here. I can choose 20 different channels on the R863, which is the UHF and VHF AM radio. The 828 is the FM radio, which we'll look at the moment, in a moment. So channel 3 on the 863, we're going to set as the tower VHF FAM, which is 130 megahertz. And channel 4, we're going to set as 259, which is the UHF tower. That's set up. So we're just going to spawn some more of these helicopters. Set up 4 of them, hot started with those presets. Next, we need some good guys to go and rescue. So the VHF FM we're going to use to basically go and rescue some units in distress. So I'm going to put them in, and why not? Let's just put them there. They're going to be, you have these things, these APCs. There you go. And we're going to set their frequency to, I'm going to set it to 38 FM. So that's that. We're going to then basically ask them to transmit a message. That message is going to be a wave file, and it'll be this soldier shouting, because we're going to be in distress. So we selected that wave file. We're going to put it on loop. He's now transmitting on FM 38 in a loop. Okay, so that's those guys. One thing we do need to do is go back to our hips and reduce that down to 1 again. We need to add another preset, which is in the R828, the FM radio. Channel 3, I need to write this down before I forget. Channel 3 is going to be 38 megahertz, so we can pick up on the FM. Okay, now as well as use the presets, we can use manual mode as well to find the frequencies, so we'll show both methods. Okay, right, I hope you've stuck with me so far. We're going to cancel that off now. I'm going to save that up, and we're going to jump in the mission. Okay, we're in the cockpit now. We're on the airport, and we're going to start using our radio to contact the tower. First of all, in VHF AM frequency. So we're going to look at our main radio up to the top here. We're going to select the correct radio, and we are using the R863, our main communications VHF and UHF radio. We're going to change here from intercom down to radio, and we're going to go to our preset selector. So first of all, we're going to use presets to talk to the tower. Now, if you remember, preset 3 was the VHF AM 130 megahertz. Make sure we've got AM selected here. Next, we're going to go down to the engineer's radio panel and make sure we've got preset selected so it knows to use the preset. So that is that done, and I'm going to use the following button to press the push to talk radio. Stand by. Radio trigger is right alt and backslash. So right alt and backslash. I'm going to request takeoff here.
Good order. In field 1-1. Request takeoff.
And hopefully we get a response. Stand by. And there we go. Okay. Now the next thing we want to do is use our preset 4 on the 863 radio. That is our UHF 259 megahertz, and we're going to try contacting the tower via the UHF now. So right alt and backslash, we're going to try abort in takeoff.
Good order. In field 1-1. Abort takeoff.
There you go, and we got the response telling us to come back. So that was the presets, AM and UHF. Next, we're going to contact them in the manual mode. So, in fact, why don't we just jump over to the engineers panel? So, we're going to go from presets to manual. We're going to toggle these switches here. So, we're going to go to our VHF AM of 130. So, stand by as I try and get that typed in. I'm using the left and right mouse button to toggle this. 00. I'm in manual mode. This here changes between guard. So if I went up there, it would automatically enforce the guard channel in an emergency, which is 243 or 241 megahertz UHF. I can't remember, but we don't want that. Here is ARC. So if we wanted to engage ARC for navigation, we don't want that. And here is squelch cancellation. And here is the volume. So let's turn that up to make it even louder. And now we're going to try contacting them from manual. So right alt and backslash. Request takeoff.
Good order. In field 1-1. Request takeoff. In field 1-1.
And there we go. So that was using the manual mode, and we could also use the manual mode for the UHF 259 if we wanted to. Right, so that's that communication. Next, we're going to use the VHF FM to go and find our stranded troops. Right, so everything we've been doing so far is on the R863 radio. That's the UHF and the VHF AM band. Now we're going to move over to a completely separate radio, the R828, which uses the VHF FM band. So we've turned over there. We're now going to go over to our co-pilot seat by pressing 2, and we're now going to go over to the controller for the R828 radio. We've got various controls here. First, we need to make sure it's on. This can be used to control navigation or comms, and we want it on comms because this is a comms tutorial. Volume we want up. Radio squelch, anti-squelching, we'll turn that on. Next, we're going to change to our preset channel 3, which is, as you remember, the 38 FM, which is the same as what the tanks in trouble are transmitting on. So we're all good to go now. Oh, that's left and right click to change this, by the way. And then the very important thing, you have to tune this channel in. You have to hover over that button there and keep your left mouse cursor on it. Do not forget to do this or it will not work. Stand by. And you can hear that sound. That is the .wav file. I accidentally selected a different one to what I thought I selected. That is a .wav file that is being transmitted by the tanks that are in distress. So this is how I communicate with them. So we can also use that for navigation. We'll show that in the navigation tutorial. Let me just turn that off for a second. Now that's turned off, we can show that we've got another area of comms we've got to listen to. So we've done the 863, we've done the 828. We've also got Jadro. Jadro is a long-range radio. Now we can't actually find a real method to test this out and use it, so we're just going to show you that it exists. I should say before we go any further, NF does not function. ARC and ARC here are both for navigation. And here is the Jadro long-range communication. We've got these two digits here are the megahertz. These are for the kilohertz. So we can go like this with right and left, right and mouse button. So that would be 12 megahertz .0200. Volume control, tuning, standby on and off. Like I said, we haven't figured out a way of actually testing it and using it, so just accept really it's there and that's how you use it. Anything to add to Jadro, Stahl?
Not really, no. I mean, it does take a moment to tune in, as you can see, but as soon as the light goes out, it's perfectly fine to use. And you have one thing that's actually unusual about the Jadro. You do have a squelch adjust and up rather than just on and off. So that's because, since it is a long-range radio, you can, generally speaking, expect a lot of interference, so it can help to be able to adjust it more finely.
These long-range radios, I've heard that they can travel over and around mountains and stuff like that, or something weird, because of reflections or something?
Yeah, basically, as far as I understand, you bounce the radio waves off the atmosphere, and they're just able to follow the curvature of the Earth.
Okay, maybe one day we'll put some helicopters 400 miles apart and try and bounce some Jadro off the atmosphere, but that's a bit too much for us at the moment. Right, so I hope that helps. To summarise, we've shown VHF AM and UHF with the 863 radio, using the 828 radio to navigate in FM, and the Jadro explain what it does. I hope that helps, and we'll see you later.